One of the greatest jokes of 2020, which was Hunter's mom and my testicles. So
that was really good. Really good. Still relevant, too.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
You know, as bad as 2020 was, the one thing that 2020 didn't do was get rid of reality TV shows. Thanks, 2020.
Yeah, still got that to look forward to. Oh, apparently it did get rid of Hunter.
It did. He just disappeared.
He
was here, and then he disappeared into a cloud of insulin.
He wants us here, and then he was gone. Let's hope he returns in 2021, like Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Or something.
Oh, I heard, I saw a trailer, apparently, like season 3 there. Is it season 3 or 4?
It's going to be season 3.
And then like the two, Ralph Macchio and the dude team up or something to take on like a new bad guy?
Who knows? And in every season so far, they've like been against each other, but then been friends for a minute and then been against each other again. And it kind of cycles. So I don't know. But I do know that it's being helmed by Netflix now.
Yeah.
And they're probably, the production schedule is probably going to be a little more consistent than it was with YouTube or I don't know.
Stranger Things comes out next year, season 4.
Yes.
I'm super excited about that.
There's a lot to look forward to. Even it's going to be really, really far away, but there's still some real exciting, like like The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and the next year is going to be
The Bad
awesome.
Batch.
Yeah. Also, I literally saw this last night. Check me on this. March 5th or 3rd, one coming to America 2.
Oh yeah, I saw that,
and it's got everybody in it that was in the original one. Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, James Earl Jones, everybody, but also some new people too. I think this one's got like Wesley Snipes and other people. It looks like, so far, that's my most anticipated movie.
I'll be real shocked if Kevin Hart's not in it.
Who knows? Who knows? But it looks amazing.
Yeah.
That's coming out. That's my most anticipated movie of 2021 so far.
Next month, a movie comes out with Denzel Washington and Rami Malek and Jared Leto called The Little Things, and it looks like...
I think I saw a preview for that.
It looks like it's going to be a white knuckler. Like it's... I can't wait.
That's badass. Also, what is it? We've got... Isn't there the Godzilla movie coming out? If Hunter was here, he could tell us about it.
Yeah, Godzilla's coming out. A bunch of movies like that Little Things movie is coming out to HBO Max. And they're like, I mean, they're dropping all sorts of movies that were supposed to be in theaters straight to HBO Max with no extra charge to subscribers.
Yeah. I wonder how they got those contracts. How do you think they scored that? Like the Wonder Woman deal or whatever?
I'm assuming they paid Warner Brothers a stupid amount of money.
Yeah. Is it all Warner Brothers movies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all Warner Brothers movies. Godzilla vs. Kong, Dune. The Dune movie is going to be coming out on HBO Max.
Big. For sci-fi people, it's supposed to be like the people that can't stand Star Wars, can't stand Star Trek, don't give a fuck about Dune is the one.
Yeah.
A lot of the really intellectual sci-fi people are like, this is the one.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Apple TV has a sci-fi movie coming out or show coming out that's supposed to be like this huge saga of like an old sci-fi book from like the 50s or 60s. I can't remember exactly what it is, but everyone's because it's supposed to be like Game of Thrones level production, but for like a really big sci-fi movie.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up.
Very, very interesting. And so speaking of HBO Max, have you heard have you gotten any reactions from the Wonder Woman movie?
I have heard not good things, so I don't really want to watch it right now.
A lot of people are not real enchanted with it.
I've heard a lot of people just go, it's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah. And I would agree with that. There are some things about it that are fantastic. This is the most. I'll say you've never seen Kristen Wiig like this. Kristen Wiig is actually like portrayed as like really formidable in this, and like she's dorky at first, and then she starts to get like these powers or whatever, and they start portraying her much more like sexualized and like then real like mean. But you see her. You kind of start to see her, I guess, acting range for the first time, and it's impressive.
I was about to ask, how is she as a villain?
Like, really good, but the problem is I don't know that she can... She's still... Every time you see her face, to me, I just want to get tickled. It's Bridesmaids. It's Saturday Night Live. It's something like... I can't... It's hard for me... By the end of the movie, I was buying it, but... And Gal Gadot is phenomenal. Like, I'm a fan of hers. I like generally what she does, but I I think the material is weak. I think that's probably the
The
problem.
story itself.
Story itself, there's some comedic parts in it where they're like adjusting to things in the 80s, and that's fun.
Yeah.
But just the actual story, the character performances are great. I mean, what's the guy that plays the Mandalorian? That he's the main.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he's phenomenal in it. Everything he does, just what they've got him doing is not great. I think that's the problem.
How do they? I'm curious how they justify bringing back Chris Pine because he died in the first one.
Yes, and you got to. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but
Okay.
there's a lot of unrealistic things happen in this one,
Okay.
and that's kind of the big plot. Something's going on that's causing people to be able to do things that they shouldn't be able to do, like change reality and stuff. And so
Okay.
that's the sort of the big part. And they introduce like a theme of like when you wish for something, you have to give something else up. And so I get it. It's just, they did it in a really silly way. And, it's overall, I would say it's a little bit underwhelming, but it's a fun watch. And I mean, if you've already got HBO Max, what else,
Yeah.
what the fuck else are you going to do? But
That's true.
Some people really hate. Ben Eller was so mad. He was like, this is the worst thing. He goes, fucking, what is wrong with DC? Like,
I think
I didn't feel that bad about it. I just thought, oh, that's a little dumb. Oh, that's a little dumb. Oh, that's a little dumb. But then there were parts I was like, hey, that was cool. There were
Yeah.
parts that I went back and watched again, like some of the real dramatic parts.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, that's kind of cool,
I have a feeling that after Zack Snyder's Justice League miniseries comes out on HBO Max, and it's like I think it's gonna be like 5 or 6 episodes. Like he's adding a bunch of stuff to it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's gonna be where DC, because DC already is doing fairly well on TV, like the
Yes.
CW with like Flash and stuff. So I have a
I think
feeling
Supergirl is fantastic. It's
Yeah.
super cheesy. It's one of the cheesiest things that's ever been on TV, but it's good. It's good cheese.
Yeah. I just have a feeling that HBO is going to just like pick up a bunch of DC stuff and just be like, let's make DC TV shows instead. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully Robert Pattinson's Batman is going to be good.
I hope so.
We just watched, me and Savannah watched the other night, The Devil All the Time, where he
Yeah.
plays like a preacher.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch that?
Oh, yeah. Didn't we talk about that recently?
I think
didn't
you said you watched it, but you were waiting for me to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, real quick. Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast. I'm Casey.
Oh, hi. In case you guys didn't know, we're a little far in. This is our wrapping up.
Whoops.
This is our wrapping up of 2020 episode, which I know a lot of you are really excited to get rid of 2020 and maybe
Fuck you, 2020.
look ahead. We're going to talk about it a little bit here.
But yeah, The Devil All the Time was.
Do you like it?
It was not a feel good movie.
No.
Which I kind of figured watching the trailer it was going to be one of those ones that people just drop left and right.
Sure.
I liked it. It was good. Like it was, I read a review where somebody was like, this is a movie about evil people trying to guise their good actions by like, saying it's for God or for religion, but really they're just hiding their shitty behavior behind,
Yeah. It it kind of reminded me a little bit of there's a movie out or a show or something out recently called Hillbilly Elegy that was sort of like it's very much about the parts of the country that are extremely rural and like the way people kind of come up in that like that. I think that stuff's pretty interesting. The movie to me drug on a little bit and it was a
Yeah.
little kind of like
it was slow.
yeah, but I didn't hate it, and I think Tom Holland and what's the guy from Twilight, Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
Dude, Pattinson was really good as like a
Yeah.
Tennessee, like,
Yes.
what's
I think
the
they
word?
needed to be in a movie like that to so that they don't just forever get typecast as Spider-Man and Twilight. You
Yeah.
know?
Which, by the way, Netflix has Remember Me. So please go watch that and tell me what you think.
What's Remember Me?
Remember Me is that movie that I've been telling. Me and Frying Pan and Savannah talked about it with you. I think on Brunch Bitches. But it's Robert Pattinson and Pierce Brosnan, and it's like a father-son kind of movie.
Oh, okay.
But it's on Netflix. Do me a favor and watch that sometime in the next week or two, and I want to talk to you about it because it's a good one.
Got it. I got it. That'll give us something to look for. Well, let's talk about 2020 a little bit here.
2020.
I know people listening are going to want to at least hear. We've been talking about it all year, so there's not a whole lot to reveal. But we'll go back and kind of recap. Obviously, the big stories in 2020 were the pandemic, the riots,
Yep.
the election,
The wildfires.
and the country was on fire. Everybody was sick. Everyone was mad at each other, and it was in the middle of an election year. And
Yeah.
what's weird, they're all kind of the same thing. They
Yeah.
sort of all go together. But those are the big things. But within that, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened this year. What do you remember about living through 2020, Case?
January 26, 2020, poor old Kobe Bryant passed away.
Yep.
That was the one that I looked it up and I went, oh shit, Kobe Bryant did die this year. And I remember being at Beta Saigon getting pho, just like enjoying my dinner and looking up at the TV, and it was like breaking news. Like just then, Kobe Bryant's helicopter crashed. And
Yeah,
I was
and
like, holy shit.
That's kind of the first tragic thing I remember from the year too. But I've got a little list here.
Okay.
That was the first of a whole bunch of people we lost this year. And now this is certainly not everybody that died in 2020.
Yeah.
But some of these are obvious. Some of them we may not have remembered, but we lost Kobe Bryant, Sean Connery. Obviously,
yeah.
and I'm sure everybody knows who these people are. Kobe Bryant was the basketball star of the LA Lakers, widely considered to be the second greatest player ever to live, right under Michael Jordan. Sean Connery, the original James Bond. Brian Dennehy died this year. He was in Rambo, and he was on a ton of TV shows. Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther.
Chadwick Boseman. That was a tough one.
Jerry Stiller died this year. He
Really?
Was, he was the guy from Seinfeld who played
Ben Stiller's dad.
Yeah, Ben Stiller's dad. And the famous from the Festivus episode, he was also on King of Queens. Naya Rivera, the actress from Glee, died this year. Tragic drowning accident.
I remember the conspiracy, the Wayfair people took that and ran with it.
They did. But it turned out it was just an accident. They found her son on the boat and she had drowned. Kelly Preston died, John Travolta's wife.
Really?
She was in Jerry Maguire. Carl Reiner died. He was in Ocean's 11 and tons of TV shows. But Carl Reiner also was the father of Rob Reiner, who directed Princess Bride.
Really?
Yeah. And if you saw
Rob Reiner still alive?
Rob Reiner's still alive.
Okay.
But Carl Reiner died. Wilfred Brimley died. Diabetes. Tony Rice, who is he was a bluegrass legend, musician, and Eddie Van Halen.
I remember that one rocked you and Brandon.
Yeah. That had the most effect on me because he had the most effect on my life out of all the people that passed away. But also, I lost my uncle this year, and a lot of people lost loved ones, and they haven't. Luckily, my family was able to have a funeral for my uncle in Texas. But I know several people that lost parents this year that they still haven't been able to have a service. They still haven't been able to properly grieve because of the pandemic, and that is one of the crappiest things about 2020 is people aren't even able to do the cathartic thing that you normally do when you lose family.
Yeah.
They've had to just sit on it and wait until it's okay to have people, like a gathering of people. It's very, very tragic. But those are some of the people that we lost in 2020, along with the thousands and thousands of Americans who died from COVID or COVID comorbidities and other things. So, I mean, it's a lot.
Alex Trebek.
Alex Trebek. How did I forget that one? Jesus. Yeah, Alex Trebek. That's another one. God, man.
I have another one here that I kind of forgot about until I looked it up. The Nashville tornadoes.
Yep. Bad tornado. Oh, yeah. Destroyed Nashville. And then Nashville just had another tragedy.
The bomb
went off on Christmas morning.
I looked that up and thought I was like, there's no way that's that has to be an accident. And then
what's funny? Now that we think, what time was it? 6 a.m.
6:45 in the morning, and like an hour before that, people reported gunshots in the area, like multiple gunshots.
Keep talking about that, and I'll play something kind of spooky for you.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and apparently there's a recording on the RV that was parked, telling people to evacuate the area, and like having a countdown of when the bomb was supposed to go off. To the point that the police and bomb squad were able to show up, but they, I guess, decided they couldn't they didn't want to put the bomb squad that close to the RV, not knowing what kind of explosives were in it.
And has anybody been able to establish a motive on the Nashville bombing or anything?
I looked up earlier before coming in here to record, and apparently they have a person of interest, but they don't have anything like, they don't have anything like substantial yet. What is this? What are you playing?
This funny, well, it's not funny, but every Christmas, there's a song I listen to, and it starts off and it says, the very first thing you hear, the name of the song is 6 o'clock, and it says 6 o'clock Christmas morning. And it's a song by Dream Theater. I don't want to play too much of it because we'll get
in trouble.
How many seconds are you allowed to play?
10 seconds.
Okay, I can get us within 10 seconds of it. But it's funny that it would say that, but that's one of the ways I've always started Christmas off since 1990 something or another. We'll get to it in just a second. But that's weird that the bomb went off right around that same time.
I bet they were listening to that. No, I'm not going to say that. Oh, that's weird.
I know.
Now,
I didn't even think that that's the time the explosion happened. But every time Christmas gets close, I'm always thinking 6 o'clock Christmas morning, 6 o'clock Christmas morning.
Well,
strange.
What I found interesting is they said that no one died,
Yeah.
and now it's like one person, or like they're adding more to it because they're finding body parts within, like, apparently people were in the RV, and I think it was more than one person was in the RV when it blew up.
Shit.
So, yeah, I don't know.
That's not any fun.
That's a weird one.
Man, what about Beacon House in 2020? I mean, it was funny. I scrolled back through a lot of our episodes, and I was sort of like, what were the good episodes we did this year? And we had a lot. Like I forgot how many things we had on this year, starting with like Blood Dad 1, 2, and all the different Blood Dads we had.
Valerie Buckner.
Valerie Buckner was on. Hannah was on.
AJ was on.
AJ was even on. Like I was starting to get back to the beginning of the year, and I was like, man, but you could kind of see where we started talking about the pandemic, and then we had like the pandemic survival guide, and then various things beyond that. And like I was just like, wow, it's kind of weird to look back. What an interesting time to have a weekly podcast during the weirdest year of our life.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun to go back and look, maybe listen to all the episodes this year and just what we were dealing with, what we were discovering every week, the new things that are happening, the riots when they broke out. But I compiled probably what I feel like my 3 favorite episodes of the week were. Going back, the first one that I really, really loved was episode number 105, and it was our very first Beacon House book club that we did with Leslie Payne, talking about the book I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
It's such a weird book.
It's such a weird book. And the movie came out later in the year, and I feel like disappointed a lot of people. And I found reasons to sort of make some excuses for it, but ultimately the book was the crowning achievement. It was not the movie. And
I need to go back and watch the movie just to kind of like, I think a second viewing is it needed.
Yeah. Man, you got to look. It's almost, I don't know. Go back and check out our episode. It was during Halloween. All our Halloween episodes are fantastic, but we talk about I'm Thinking of Ending Things this last Halloween. See what you think. Maybe go watch it, whatever. But that was my first favorite episode, Book Club. I just love what we talked about, how we talked about it. We were all had this just like, the book is so creepy and psychological that when we were talking about it, we were all just like, and then this thing happens, and whoa, it was just really cool.
It's a meaty episode. I mean, it's a meaty book, but like
Yes.
the things that we all took away from it, like the symbolic.
Because it's got such a huge turn.
Yeah.
There's such a huge plot twist in it that when everybody gets there, and then when you go back and start talking about it, everything's different.
Yeah.
When you know the truth of the book. So that was my favorite. That's episode 105 for you diligent listeners, if you want to go back. The next one that I'm super proud of was episode 119, which we called Fury 2020. And that was when we sort of broke down all the like racial injustice and the like the George Floyd riots and just what was happening to the country at that point. It was so divided, and like there was just a lot happened right in the middle of the pandemic, and like nobody felt safe, even regardless of which side of the thing you were on, and it was just weird. But we talked about that, and I feel like I'm also very proud of the conversation we had over that stuff, and that was episode 119. And then again, the last one that I really liked was, when we were getting closer and closer to the insanity of this election. And then it was episode 141 called The Cobra Effect. And that one particularly is real personal to me because I'd been saving that story up for a long time about how you can externalize all the stuff that's wrong, but really we're the ones that are responsible for how bad or good the world is at roughly any point. And it's easy to blame, but it's hard to look at yourself and realize like, This year has had so much blame, that when like this thing's wrong, that thing's wrong. It's Trump's fault. It's the virus's fault. It's George Floyd's fault. It's whatever like that. But really, we're the ones who kind of got on social media and just threw a big baby diaper fit all year. As a whole, we did. But those are my 3 favorite episodes: 105, 119, and 141.
I got my 3 favorite. I'm gonna start off with 117 OnlyFans. When we talked about having an OnlyFans.
That was funny.
That one to me, I don't know. I enjoyed the discussion we had about like being in a relationship with somebody who has an OnlyFans account or has like the Patreon account where they take nudes of themselves and then like charge other people for money.
Yes. I enjoyed that hypothetical too. Like I remember we were going, well, what if you started dating somebody and then they didn't have one, but then they started one and then you found out while you were with that, and I like that discussion a lot too.
And I mean, also it had the greatest, one of the greatest jokes of 2020, which was Hunter's mom and my testicles.
Oh, man.
So
that was really good. Really good. Still relevant too. Still extremely relevant. Relevant going forward into the future.
The next one would have to be, let's see, I had the number here just a second ago, would be The Sound of Terror. I really enjoyed.
I almost picked that one.
138.
But I decided to not pick any from Halloween because I love all the Halloween ones. But
Yeah.
that was the one that probably the most people came up to me and went, whoa.
Yeah.
Like that fucked me up.
The 911 call gets me. I don't know. I know a lot of people liked they preferred the Ed Kemper or the Jim, like the Jonestown. But that 911 call just, chilled my blood to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. Sound of Terror was really good.
And of course, the big thing of 2020 for me, we can't talk about big things that happened in 2020 without talking about Casey on the Mountain.
Definitely.
Episode 133, where I have refound or rediscovered my faith.
Do you realize that, like, what's funny about that? There, like 6 episodes before that, you had adopted the Flying Spaghetti Monster religion.
Yep.
And you were reading it at the beginning. Do you remember that?
I do. And I also remember that we recorded that episode, let's see, 6 episodes before that. Roughly after recording that episode is when me and Savannah...
You were a Pastafarian.
Yeah.
like 1 month before that Casey on the Mountain.
Yep.
Or I think it's there's that, and then like a couple episodes, because I was scrolling through them too, and then Casey Gets a Bible was like 4 episodes later.
Yeah.
So folks, don't rule out what could happen.
Yeah.
Don't rule out what could happen no matter where you are. It could be 4 episodes away. Your entire life could change.
I was the Flying Spaghetti Monster and given up completely on, finding any kind of romantic relationship in my life. And then literally 4 episodes later, I met Savannah and we had gone up on the Max Patch and I had basically reconnected with my faith. And, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big thing for 2020.
Bigger than anything. And that alone right there should make 2020 like and I was kind of going to touch on that too. Like, man, the thing about 2020 is that social media kind of began to devour itself, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that so much of social media and just the media in general only makes sense in our... I'm trying to figure out how to say this. It only makes sense in our experience insofar that you can walk away from it. But this year, we were all crammed into our houses and literally with very little to do, very little social outlet, very little... Like, there were no concerts, there were no trips, the vacations didn't happen. Just a lot of the things that make up the human experience didn't happen. So we spent most of the year staring at phones. Whatever. But that kind of caused social media to collapse in upon itself. And you kind of start to see the cracks in the foundation, which I liked. But I feel like, there are still great things that happened in 2020. You've got a wonderful story about 2020. And I don't have like a big, it was one of the greatest years. But man, a lot of good things happened for me this year too. I had a lot of time, probably because I was forced to just go home a lot.
Yeah.
That I had to do a lot of reflection. I had to do a lot of self-reflection. I had to do just a lot of personal maintenance, things like that, because I had time. It wasn't time that I went looking for, but it was there. And then it's weird, but if you have, people are going to, 2020 is going to go down in history as like the shittiest year.
Yeah.
It's always going to be talked about like that on the media. That's just an easy box to put it in. But really, if you have perspective, I feel like there are no bad experiences. There are only the good of having more experiences. Like, you're not dead, so things are still happening. They may not all be what you prefer, but you're still able to have experiences. And if you're if you're kind of like a student of life, every experience is an opportunity to like overcome and learn, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I was typing a note about that, and I thought to myself, well, I don't mean to polarize it. Like, there are people that are suffering right now of cancer and things way worse than COVID. And like, obviously, I'm not trying to say that their experience is a good experience. Some experiences fucking suck. Those typically the ones that involve depression, sadness, suffering. Those are not great experiences, but those are also part of the picture. Like, you know what I mean? The good goes with the bad. That's the C.S. Lewis said that, that's the deal. Like, the bad later or now is part of the good. And so anyway, I just think that you've got a phenomenal story about something that happened to you in 2020, life-changing, potentially. And I just feel like I hope a lot of people found something about this year that they could feel good about. I'd hate to think that this was just a shit wasted year. Obviously we don't want to go back through this pandemic.
I don't think it's a shit wasted year, even for people who had the worst year ever in 2020. I think, if anything, you should take, if you feel like 2020 was just the worst year of your entire life and it was nothing good happened, I strongly urge you to take that and turn it into something.
Yeah.
Take that negativity, take that shittiness of this year,
bounce back,
and turn it into something for next year. Like, everyone has New Year's resolutions that people usually don't do and they cave on by February. Maybe this year, take that negative energy of 2020 and really stick to it.
Yeah.
And do the things that you want to do in 2021. Because clearly, from looking at 2020, it all can go within 12 months.
That's damn straight. Yeah. Remember this time a year ago, we were thinking about all the cool stuff that was coming up?
We were going to go to the Grove Park this time next year. This time last year.
There was going to be we were going to have a guys trip, get away to the spa. We're going to have, I was thinking of all the concerts we're going to go to this summer. I had tickets to see my favorite band ever, King's X, in the fall. I mean, and it was just, and that was we got out of it easy. Like other people, Jesus, man.
I got a 6-week vacation.
Yeah.
I had to stay in my house and Clorox wipe down boxes of cereal I got delivered to me, but.
Yeah. What a weird year. What a fucking weird year.
It's not over yet.
I remember sanitizing, and I still kind of do this, but not as much. But I remember sanitizing the gas pumps.
I still do it.
While I was waiting on my car to fill up, I would take a Clorox wipe and go to all the other gas pumps and try to make things safer for people. But fucking, what a strange year. But what hurt me a lot about 2020 was seeing, like, business owners I know, like people that own local bars or people that work in the service industry, the entertainment industry, bands that I make equipment for, like personal heroes of mine, just totally be unemployed for the whole, with no help, no unemployment, no anything. Like, most of the bands that I work with literally have been relying on their wives or something to support them for this entire year while they wait for tours to come back and the world to come back. And that's been the hardest thing for me,
for the political corner of this podcast, before we end things, I'm very interested in what you think, because a lot of people seem to believe that Trump is now going to just try to destroy the GOP on his way out.
I don't know. And
it all started with that stimulus bill where they wanted $600 and he came out and was like, I want $2,000, which is what the Democrats were asking for. And then they all agreed on the $600 because I guess Democrats got some other sort of shit deal that they wanted.
Both sides had shit parts of the deal.
Oh, absolutely.
They had tons and tons of extended unemployment. They had tons and tons of
all of it fucked us over.
Military funding. I think I sent you some stuff. Like there was $10 million for gender studies in Pakistan, or Syria, or something like that. Whatever. But neither side was happy with the bill. And the only thing I know about it is that the one person I trust out of this whole thing is Tulsi.
Oh, and listen to her talk.
Yeah, I basically I kind of listen to what she has to say about it. And she supported his decision that $600 is a slap in the face to the American people, especially when you're giving $10 billion to defense contractors, just sliding that across the desk. Nobody had a chance to read it. They were given 2 hours to read a 5,000-page document. Yeah. It was all shady. It was an insult to the people. I do believe that. I think he did the right thing by saying, no, we need at least $2,000 for every person. But then the left was like, we didn't get enough money from the Republicans. And then the ultimate Republican goes, give him $2,000. They go, oh, he's just doing that to look good. Yeah. So nobody's happy with it. And then they tried to work something up real quick, and he didn't sign off on it. So I hate them all.
Yeah.
I hate them all. And while they're deciding which hand to hold their dick in, the American people are just dying quicker on the firing line, and now people's unemployment's running out. And I just really don't trust any of them. And I think that it could have been handled a lot better.
Unemployment and eviction bans are going this Thursday. They're gone. Like, unemployment benefits and people, because certain states banned eviction, where landlords couldn't evict somebody. Those are all going by Thursday, and they still haven't signed or agreed on anything.
I think they'll come up with something, and it'll probably be very underwhelming. But if you're going to, I don't know. I think the whole thing is just.
Well, now the talk is 1,400.
I don't trust any of them. We're going to get something. It's going to be peanuts compared to not only what's going on, but also how much they steal from us every single year.
Well, I'm also interested to see how many people, when the unemployment benefits come back, just quit their jobs and just collect unemployment instead of working.
I mean, I have a hard time speaking about that because I run a business and we're hiring and we can never hire enough people.
Right.
Like there's so many jobs to be had, but nobody wants to work. But I get why they don't want to work, or they're waiting on that one perfect job they had to come back. And like, I get it. I get when you're on $600 unemployment, it's hard to take a server job that's only going to pay $2.15 an hour until business comes back. I get it. I get all of it. But I don't think there's one answer for everybody. And what's terrible is that nobody's satisfied with whatever they come up with.
Yeah.
But again, this is a year of unrest. Nobody's obviously not happy about things. But as far as like, what do I think? I don't know. I really don't know. I know that we're going to get what we get either way. And I still believe it's more up to us to like watch out for ourselves than to expect the government to take care of us, because they don't. They never do, you know?
Not for free anyways. They always take something.
Yeah, and if you think the government's taking care of you, I guarantee you they're taking more from you.
Yeah.
You get the illusion of feeling safe. You get the illusion of having some things provided to you.
Yeah.
When you're probably not experiencing one iota of real freedom or real opportunity or real choice. Just by my experience, that's what I've seen in 40-something years of life, is that the government doesn't really care about you. They care about you making things work for them.
I think.
But who knows?
I think in the grand scheme of things,
I thought it was cool that they all got the vaccine while we watched.
What made me more upset than anything is Mike Pence getting the vaccine after he, in charge of the coronavirus, like defense whatever committee, was saying that it's not real. It's like, well, if it's not real, don't get that vaccine.
Well, Tulsi said straight up, like, I'm not going to get it until they allow the elderly to get it. Like when they're, but again, people got mad at her about that because a lot of frontline workers, well, not the frontline workers are getting it, but they were offering essential workers, which technically I'm one of because I work at a restaurant. So that means me and my crew and everybody that works at the liquor store across the street, technically could get it before the elderly.
Yeah.
And I don't wish my crew not to be able to get it, but at the same time, I feel like the most, the people that are at the most risk by a lot, like a whole lot, not just like a 20%, like your chances of dying from coronavirus over the age of 65 go up by like 10 million.
Yeah.
It's not even like relatively close. Like there's a very, very obvious line where you're probably it's going to be fatal, or you may survive it. I think those people on the other side of that line should have access to the vaccine, not just like make them stay home. Like some of those people have like doctor's appointments and cancer treatments, and they can't just stay home. And I don't know.
Also, for people who don't trust the vaccine, I don't know. It's very weird that people don't trust the vaccine, and they're the ones that are trying to get in the front of the line to get it.
It's weird. I'm not a doctor. We did an episode where I said that. Remember, we were talking about cold remedies. And I was like, well, first off, we're not a doctor. I don't know. I know that it hasn't been tested very much, but also have been told that it doesn't have to be tested much because it's a new type of vaccine that has a plug-and-play like polypeptides and RNA code.
And also it's a matter of, like other vaccines take multiple years because it takes I think it takes more funding and things like that. And there's other stuff going on with that vaccine. And with the coronavirus vaccine, everything was put to a halt and everyone focused on it only.
I know.
And so that's why it was made
I know some
quicker.
people that are very much like, I'm not getting it, or I'm not getting it soon. I'm going to wait a couple rounds of it go around and see if there's any side effects.
I'll wait and get it.
I mean, I'm not in a hurry to.
No, I'll get it right away, actually.
If it's offered to me, I'm going to ask my doctor. And I'm going to go by the advice of my doctor. But still, like I said, man, I'm thinking way more about all the people who are out of work, who bartenders that are dear friends of mine that are having to close at 10 o'clock when the business should have started for them.
Yeah.
Like their income was cut in half this year. Like they're having trouble. They're behind on their rent. Like it's just bad. And they're actually putting themselves at risk. Musicians who can't tour, and like that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I think if enough people get the vaccine, that'll probably be closer to going back to normal. So I'm going to push everybody to think about other people, but also do what your conscience tells you. I mean, I'm not going to advise people to or not to take a vaccine that you may feel risky about, but let's try to think about what we can collectively do to get the world back. That's kind of where I'm at.
And I also feel like the local government could have done better at least taking care of businesses, like having some sort of fund to keep the lights on, or getting rid of eviction bans, or maybe taking care of the utility bill, like telling utility companies not to charge people for a certain amount of time. Like there's certain things you can do that
won't be just a lot of that. They did. They cut off. They did a thing where KUB wasn't allowed to turn anybody's power off through the pandemic. So you could get behind. You still had to pay your bill for the energy use, but they couldn't turn your power off and leave you literally out in the cold.
But I also feel like if if your local officials say there's a mask mandate, you would have a large percentage of people wearing masks just because of the fear of getting in trouble.
But they
you
said
would have
that,
the illusion.
Maybe. But the problem with that is it's unenforceable.
Right.
You can't, that's like saying everybody has to wear red on Wednesday for some reason. That's never going to happen. You can't enforce that kind of a personal decision for everybody.
Well, I do know the vote to take.
Our society isn't based like that. There's not enough cops to write tickets for everybody that has a mask off. Also, if you go to somebody and go, hey, where's your mask? They pull one out of their pocket. So were they wearing one or not? Or they just forget? Or is that worth a ticket? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you get pulled over and like, oh crap, I didn't realize I was speeding. Okay, you can go this time. Like at what point is there a non-tolerance rule? And at what point are they just going to go to court? You write them a ticket for not having a mask and they go to court and go, it was in my pocket and I just walked out of a bathroom by myself. I wasn't within 6 feet of people. Well, it's going to get thrown out. Yeah. And then you're just going to jam the courts up.
Well, I guess in saying that, really the only thing you can blame is going back to the Cobra effect talk is it's us. We're the problem.
Sure. And outside of Knox County, people aren't wearing masks. And I pull up to a restaurant when I was watching the season finale of The Mandalorian. There was a local restaurant I like to go to get fish tacos. And I'd watch The Mandalorian after work every Friday. I had this little ritual. But when I pulled up to do my takeout, there'd just be piles of people outside without masks on.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's where I feel like if the governor had come out and said it's mandated that everyone wear masks, I feel like a solid 60% of those people that you saw would have been wearing a mask in fear of.
I don't think so. I don't think they would have given a fuck.
I do,
because there were cops.
People are afraid of getting in trouble more than you think.
Yeah, but the cops don't believe it. The cops won't enforce. They already said that they had to, and the cops didn't do anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like cops still went out and they didn't wear masks.
Yeah.
Like at what point do you who's going to believe it? At some point, like at some point it comes down to the honor system. You were supposed to be in trouble for not wearing a mask in public, but places just let you. I run one of the only businesses in town that actually made people leave if they didn't have a mask on.
Oh, we do too downtown. A lot of places downtown are like, get out.
Yeah, we're definitely like that. Or we'll say go outside or blah blah blah. Or if we have extra masks, we'll hand them to you. But people don't just come in and hang out in my place without a mask on.
Well,
I take it seriously, but
when you break it down. Knock on wood, we know people who were wearing masks and haven't caught it yet. Me and you haven't caught it yet, wearing masks all the time.
That's true, that we know of.
Yeah.
Like, some people wear masks all the time and they've had it twice.
And because it's not going anywhere when Biden takes office, he's already promised to shut down red hotspots. If certain cities are hotspots, he's going to shut them down.
Man, I'm all for it as long as they take care of the people.
That's what I'm looking for.
As long as they do something for those people, and you actually see a difference in the numbers. So far, across the country, everything they've done, numbers only went up. Everything they've done, numbers went up. Everything they've done, numbers went up.
I mean, numbers going up across the U.S. is because people are still traveling. That's, I think, the first thing you got to do is shut down travel.
And they're testing. They're testing at a rate that's just... It's insanity how much they're testing.
Yeah.
You know, imagine if they tested for the flu like that. What do you think that would have looked like in the past couple of years?
Imagine if they tested for like tuberculosis when it skyrocketed through the U.S.
I mean, it's a little thing. Again, I'm not saying COVID's not serious, but who knows? This is their big quandary of 2020. But let's not go out on a bad note. I like the way you started out. Things to look forward to in 2021. Hopefully, the vaccine works.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it at least gets the numbers down to a manageable level and that the people at high risk are able to get it and things start to come back a little bit.
Well, and you talking about, in 4 episodes, a lot can change. And within the next 4 episodes, I'll just leave it at a teaser. More things might happen in the next 4 episodes that are pretty big.
Let's hope. Let's hope that we get something.
No, I can guarantee it.
Oh, yeah? You've got a big plan for us?
Oh, yeah. So especially for you and Hunter.
Okay, folks. So stay tuned in 2021. Casey's got surprises planned. Hopefully, we all have some surprises planned and a lot of big things to look forward to. It would have to suck pretty bad to get worse from this.
Well, what was it? A lot of people have been posting where it's like December 31st at 11:59, and the clock goes over to midnight, and it goes January 1st, 2020. Like it repeat, like we start over.
Oh my God! Like, oh my God! Like we go through this year like Groundhog Day,
like New Game Plus. we get all the knowledge of 2020, but we have to do it all over again.
Oh, please no, please no! I just want to see my friends again, man. Like I just want to be able to get back out. Like
I want to be able to hug people again.
I know, dude. I'm a hugger. Like, I want to just be able to get back to the world. Like, I don't know. I hope some things don't come back, though. Like, I hope the mass shootings and there was a shooting at a bowling alley recently, but I hope that a lot of
The riots.
there's been
protests.
some violent crime has been down because everybody's been sort of locked up. I hope that doesn't come back. Maybe when people get back out in the streets, they won't be so mad at each other. Maybe everybody be glad to see each other. And,
Once they have to actually face what they said to the person in person.
God.
Now,
I think that'll actually be good for people. Maybe it'll make a lot of people shut up.
to wrap this up, a lot of people do some like really crazy things where like if you watch Infinity War at a certain time on the 31st, by the time Thanos snaps, it'll be midnight and it'll be 2021.
Oh,
those little things.
Or the Wizard of Oz thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one. We can wrap the episode up with this if you want.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is go to Taco Bell and get one of their $5 boxes and maybe like a Nacho Grande and eat that at 8:15, right? And then by 11:59, when you're on the shitter and you're just blowing up the toilet, maybe get some crystals like the Crystal Country Fried Steak crystals. Anyways, eat it at like 8:15. By 11:59, when you're erupting your toilet, by the time it hits midnight, prolapsed anus immediately. Happy 2021.
Oh.
Prolapse.
I don't know if that's a good way to start 2021 with the sock, with your pink sock out.
What with your little button? Hot marble. Oh, can you imagine that's like a hot marble bag.
Oh, dear God.
Anybody want to play jacks?
I mean, if you eat all that stuff you said and then get on the toilet at like 9 o'clock or whatever, your bells will definitely be ringing by midnight.
Even better.
Your ball will drop.
Call back to episode 100. Eat 20 Nature Valley bars. Drink 4 double shot espressos. By midnight, you'll be building a sandcastle in your toilet.
Yeah, and you won't have to worry about feeling guilty about not going out because you won't want to go out.
No, you'll be building a sandcastle.
You'll be turning inside out.
You'll be pooping out wet litter.
Oh, shout out Joe Ewer. Shout out everybody. Thanks for being with us this year. Thanks for being with Beacon House through the horrible year of 2020, or maybe not so horrible year, but let's all look forward to good things to come. And please be nice to each other, guys.
Hey, maybe Hunter, do you have anything to say?
I mean, some people call me gerbil demon. Well, that's why the farts slip out so easily. So it was really slick. And they're so like cute. Like when you're looking at them, it's coming from inside half the time.
That wasn't helpful.
No, he was terribly wrong about that.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. What? Thanks for nothing.
Oh my.